The six-day Reuters Ipsos poll shows Harris with a slight edge nationally, but winning the popular vote doth not a president make in the United States. That's where the Electoral College comes in, a system the founders devised giving each state a number of electors that equals the number of congressional members representing each state in the House of Representatives and the Senate.
The way that it works is rather than having a national popular vote, each state has a given set of electors, and the majority of the candidate who gets the majority in that state will then have those electors meet in what we call a college to actually formally cast a vote for president. And so it was designed as a safeguard against sort of the wild public opinion, people shouldn't be trusted, and instead was designed to limit things from state to state to prevent any kind of contagion, but then also create a buffer of these electors to interpret the public's opinion, but not necessarily be bound to it.
With 538 federal office holders in both the House and Senate, there are thus 538 electors in play to win the White House. Each candidate must win enough states to get to 270 electors or more to win the presidency. What is fairly consistent is that more than 40 of the 50 states tend to vote either Republican or Democratic in a presidential election. California and New York states, for example, are almost certain to vote for Kamala Harris and thus add to her Electoral College tally. Similarly, states like Texas or Alabama are almost certainly going to vote for the Republican nominee Donald Trump, so those electors can preliminarily be added to his Electoral College count. But that takes neither nominee above the 270 threshold for victory, meaning the swing states, those that sometimes vote blue and sometimes vote red, let's call them purple states, determine who wins. Like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada.
Electoral College is that if a candidate wins 51% of the vote, then all electors will go for them. And so California, more people voted for Donald Trump in California than in any other state in 2020. Yet none of the electors in California actually voted for Donald Trump at all. And so their vote counted far less than in the toss-up states of Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, where those votes actually really were decisive in determining the winner of the election.
A system that remains determinative of electoral outcomes, but not necessarily very popular.
Discontents, because we hear them whenever we talk about the Electoral College. The first one is that we just take naturally the idea that who has more votes ought to win, and that it shouldn't matter how they're distributed among states. If more people support one person for president, that's who it should be. So that's our modern baseline of what we expect. And that's why the Electoral College, when you ask people about it, is not very popular. It's not very popular with the public, not very popular with the professors who study these things. It is a kind of unpopular institution.
Popularity aside, it's the swing states where each nominee is spending all their time in the closing days of this race. Harris here in the battleground state of Pennsylvania Monday.
Individual. It is not about what is in their personal interest. It is about what is for and in the spirit of the public good. And this is a moment in this election that presents a real contrast among how I, as one of the two nominees, and my opponent, the former president, think of that duty. And it is a duty, by the way.
Or Trump in the purple state of North Carolina.
This election is a choice between whether we will have think of this, 4 more years. Could you stand it? 4 more years of incompetence and stupidity and failure and disaster, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. I think we have a real chance.
A real chance that comes down to winning as many swing states as possible, and where hopes and dreams will either be realized or razed to the ground. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.